Hello, hello, everybody. It's episode 10 of the Thunder Gals. I'm Brittany, aka Oakla Soda Gal, coming at you with my co-host Paula. Paula, how you doing today?
Hello. My voice is a little scratchy today. I think I may have yelled a little too much on Christmas Day at the game. I didn't go to the game. I mean deliberately at the game on my screen, screaming at the game. Oh,
Yeah, I was with family with my in-laws at my husband's mom's house, and I had to really try to keep my yelling mostly under control.
yeah, you kept it to the texts. You kept it to
Um,
the texts.
so I started texting Paula my very angry thoughts, trying to let them out somewhere besides the public and besides my in-laws.
But you were saying a lot of things that I was saying because it was a little frustrating.
Yeah, so first Christmas Day game since 2018. Thunder historically pretty good team on Christmas Day. This was their 10th all-time Christmas Day, and were 6-3 in previous Christmas Day games. So I was feeling pretty good, even though we had lost to the Spurs 2 nights before. Yeah, I'm like, but we're back at home. Those first two, one was in Vegas, one was in San Antonio. Now they got to come to our floor, Loud City. Our fans are going to be amped. Like, this is going to be the moment. Woke up feeling great. I'm sure all the rest of y'all felt the same way waking up on Christmas Day. Ooh.
Yes.
Oh.
But let me just preface all the negativity I am about to spew with the fact that the Thunder were very, very grateful, and it was a great thing to be included in the Christmas Day lineup. It is an amazing privilege to be able to play on Christmas Day, and I'm so glad that our boys came back since 2018 for the first time to have a Christmas game, and they got to play on Christmas.
Yes, it is an honor. And of course, being the defending champs, you got to be on Christmas Day. I think there's only been three or four occasions where they didn't have a defending champion on Christmas Day in the it's been since 1947, and it's only
Wow.
happened like a handful of times. Um so you earned it. We earned it. We got our spot on Christmas Day. And unfortunately, Santa gave us a lump of coal for Christmas.
Goodness. I expected, I mean, sincerely and honestly, I expected that they would have taken the time between the second Spurs game and Christmas Day, like film and just know where their weaknesses had been in the two previous. Like, I expected them to go in more prepared. And that's easy to say from my recliner in the living room as I'm pointing at the screen. I get it. It just seemed like they fell into the same traps that they had in the previous games. It's like
Yeah.
to me, it didn't feel like they had learned anything, or I should say, it didn't seem like they had adjusted anything.
Yeah, I agree with that take completely. No adjustments seem to happen. Um, I don't know if it was because of coaching, because Mark and the staff looked like they were all in some pretty deep conversations over on the bench. I saw him
Mhm.
kneeling over to Dave Bliss several times in like deep convo. So I'm not sure if it's just that the players it didn't take, they were distracted. They got off to such a hot start. I know Andrew Schleck posted a piece of interview with Alex Caruso in the locker room there, and Caruso admitted they just were playing a little too loose and a little too overconfident, and that early part of the schedule, maybe kind of let them slip into some bad habits where they thought they could just could just turn the switch on and go on a 15-0 run anytime they want against anybody. And they forgot that, there are teams you can't just easily do that to. And so it means you truly do have to be locked in all 48, as they learned in the playoffs. And so I think, they did let a little bit of it get to their heads. They got a little overconfident. And then it felt like they were not playing with the same communication level on defense. Like everybody started trying to be like the hero. And like I saw them going for steals they wouldn't normally be going for and just taking angles at things they wouldn't normally take. And I don't know how much of it's psychological, just seeing Wimby on the floor and what he does, maybe just is it getting in their heads a little bit and causing them to be like, well, now we got to like do everything, so much better that we're like putting so much pressure that we're like forgetting what got us here. Um, but
I
there's
know
something going on.
he shakes them. I know he shakes them. And of course I got to see AC on Wimby again, which still humored me, but excuse me. Speaking of AC, you know, 0 and 11, like I understand that they like to let their players shoot till they get hot. They always figure so it's going to start to fall. It's going to start to fall. AC should have reined again from the recliner. AC should have reined himself in 0 for 11. Like he could have been stronger on defense than trying to force the offense that it felt like he was trying to force. I don't know.
Absolutely. Um, yeah, they clearly got out of sorts. So to me, it tells me there's something psychological there. Like there's definitely something there. It's funny, everybody keeps talking about, the Chet Wimby rivalry, like as a Chet Wimby rivalry, are they the rivals? And like
Mhm.
I think that's just because they're both tall and play center. Um,
Yeah. And they're
you know,
both
I
over 7 feet.
I think the better rivalry is SGA versus Wimby. Like it's superstar versus superstar.
Yeah.
And I don't think it's fair to Chet to try to even put him in that rivalry yet. Like
Mm-mm.
he's not even playing that same role that Wemby is playing. And I almost think that's an unfair comparison to even be trying to turn that into the rivalry. It's a Spurs Thunder rivalry that's developing, maybe.
Yeah. I
I
could
think
see that.
Thunder fans hate the Spurs right now.
Well, yeah, the comment. Woo. But, they talk about going back to the 2010s. The Spurs rivalry goes back to the 2010s.
Yeah.
And, it's a
I
good,
do think it's a respectful rivalry.
no, that I
Like
that I
like we
agree.
hate the team as like an enemy, but we don't like hate Spurs fans and the Spurs
Oh
fan
gosh, no.
base.
No, no. We're
There's a
just all
mutual
passionate.
respect as like mid-market teams that like support our only team in town, like very similar kind of fan base. So we respect that. It's not about the fans or the fan base.
No.
But yeah, we absolutely hate the Spurs right now.
I'm just not pleased. I'm disappointed in how the boys are playing against the Spurs. Oh, but what luck. We get to play them two more times.
Yes. One not too far off again on January 13th in just a couple weeks. So,
Yeah.
um, they're gonna have to get it together by then. They might. I think, I still think they will. Maybe they don't in the regular season. How weird would it be if we went like 72 and 10, but we're like 0 and 5 against the Spurs or something?
Okay, that would be so painful. That would be very painful. I was already concerned about the tiebreaker anyway going into this game. So I,
That
it,
tiebreaker is getting closer to being meaningful.
it
Um,
really is.
Spurs 23 and 7, Thunder 26 and 5, now just a 2.5 game lead on the West. This really could come down to being very meaningful down the line,
I liked it better when we were like seven ahead of the next team.
right?
I enjoyed that a little more. No, but realistically, I mean, it's been an amazing start to the season. We may not have played the toughest schedule to start, maybe building a little bit of a false, story to how strong the Thunder are. They are an amazing team. Don't get me wrong. Do not get me wrong. But when you look at the stats, one of the odd things, especially after this Christmas Day game, the starting lineup that they had on that championship run, of Ihart and Chet and Dort and, SGA and J-Dub is they're now 0 and 4 in the games that they start. This is the starting five that took us, all the way. And now they're only, they haven't won a game together yet. And it's interesting to me.
Yeah, I think there's a few things going on there. One, the only games they've started together have all been top tier games against San Antonio or Minnesota, potential playoff rivals,
Yeah.
teams that are aiming and gunning for the Thunder, looking at us as like the measuring stick, bringing their A game because they've got us circled on the calendar. And those have been their starts together.
Right.
Um, so a little bit of that's going on. I think if they had been not injured so much throughout the early part of the season, those numbers wouldn't look that way.
Yeah.
Still alarming, because it's saying, hey, why is something wrong here? Why can't these guys get it together? Um, I think part of it's J-Dub still getting his feel for the game back. It's one thing to be practicing with the team and to be doing all of the drills behind the scenes. It's another thing to be out on an NBA court competing against Wembanyama, Stefan Castle. You know,
Yeah.
you're playing against a lot different, energy when you're on that court on Christmas Day, and he has admitted such in some interviews that there's still some tightness in that wrist. It's not so much that it's painful now, but he's still trying to kind of get it back to its looseness of, pre-surgery feel.
Hmm.
So, that's gonna take some time. And they've got to rebuild their chemistry. But there does seem to be also that they just maybe went in with a little bit of overconfidence those first couple games, let San Antonio build their confidence, and now the Spurs went in being the team feeling like, yeah, we're going to make every shot, we're going to do everything great. And the Thunder were a little bit caught on the back foot, like, oh, like they're playing our style at us instead of us playing our style at them.
And that's a huge point because they were reflecting back exactly what the Thunder put out. The Spurs were playing so much, and I'm not just talking about Christmas Day. I'm talking about Tuesday too.
All
Like
three of them, really.
exactly. They were playing with so much more of an aggressive style into the paint. Like I mean, they were going and we just were playing so hesitantly. And, one thing, we were talking about J-Dub. Well, Chet to me seems like he's regressed some with his aggressiveness getting under the rim. And I'm wondering, talk about psychological, I'm wondering how much the times he consistently seems to hit the court on his hips, how much that doesn't get into his head. Like he pulls back just a little bit so that he doesn't get knocked to the ground as much. Maybe I'm way off base, but I mean, I will give the
It
patting
it
from my
could be
hits
that. It could
to
be
him.
that. You give him the pass.
I
Sorry, I
will.
didn't mean
Whatever it takes, Chat. If this gets you
to.
driving into the pay more, take it. It's yours. I promise.
Oh, I have also seen he like, a couple of those games he missed was with some back spasms.
Yeah.
And, I do wonder how much his lower back is bothering him. That's something to keep an eye on too, moving forward in the next coming weeks. It might be worth giving him a couple weeks off and really letting that heal up. I'm sure he wanted to play. I'm sure you couldn't have talked him out of playing on Christmas Day or even
No.
talked him out of playing in that Minnesota game up in Minnesota. That's his hometown in Minneapolis. Of
Yeah.
course, he wanted to play in that one. So, I do wonder though, as we move forward in the season, do you take maybe a step back and quit trying to get the record or any kind of, even worrying about whether you're the number one seed, even, and just make sure everybody gets healthy for these 7 game playoff series?
Yeah. They definitely need Jay Will back to give him some, give a little bit of rest to filter out between iHeart and Chet. And iHeart's just coming back too. Again, not making excuses, but you know,
We also need
guys are,
Mitchell was out on Christmas
oh yeah,
Day
that
still due
concussion
to the concussion
protocol.
protocol. So, um,
He's fiery. We need him
no
back on those
excuses,
fields.
but you look back at those Spurs of old, they had Manu Ginobili coming off the bench who could, run those bench units. So far this season, AJ Mitchell's been playing that role for the Thunder, and it really did show when he wasn't out there in that second unit. And with J-Dub still not fully being 100% where we think he should be, missing that creator out of AJ Mitchell on that bench unit was really noticeable.
Am I hearing you compare AJ to Ginobili already? Look at that.
Maybe a little bit. I think not so much in being the same type of exact player, like, a carbon copy player, but I think he could be that role.
No, I,
That
I
that guy
agree. He's a
who's
flyer for that.
he could probably start on, 20 of the 30 teams in the league right now who are thin at point guard. Um, but we have him as this kind of super sub who's probably like eighth or ninth on our, depth chart.
Which is, a lot of people are not fond of our depth on our bench.
Now, our record will be fine, I think, by the end of the season. We're going through a hiccup. I do think Shea after the game said, "Hey, you don't lose to a team 3 times in this short a time period without them being better than you right now." And Shea knows what he's doing. Um,
Hmm.
I think that was a shot for the team to put on the bulletin board and say, "Hey, we gotta be better. It's on us."
Yeah.
Like it's
Well,
on
I
us
think
to step up.
I think it was uh Lauren on Threads, and she was like, "Yeah, that sounds nice that he's complimenting the Spurs and all, but we all know he's just using it as motivation for the team." It's
Yes, shout out
like,
to
maybe.
Lauren. That might have been even where that idea wormed its way into my head now that I think about it.
It's you gotta consider what's going on.
Yeah, well, and Shay doesn't get up on a podium without some idea of some message he maybe wants to send.
Jay
Um,
doesn't get up in the morning without a message that he wants to send.
yeah, he's too thoughtful and, calculating to not think he said that with a purpose. Um, so
And J-Dub in his, podium interview, the big soundbite was, you know, they've got a 7'5" guy who takes up a lot of the court. That was the big one. But the rest of his comment was very insightful, talking about how they play like the Thunder have played, where they're all just communicating and playing together, and everything's flowing between all of them. And to me, I kind of, and he was saying that was like 22-23 for them. And I'm taking that a little bit as in, are we losing a little bit of that with our guys? Like, if you've got one of our starters recognizing and saying that a team is playing more together than they are how they used to play, so are we losing some of that identity?
well, if anybody's been losing a little bit of that identity, it might be J-Dub, and maybe he needs to. Hopefully, that was a message not just to everyone else, but to himself as well. I think of anyone, any one of them, and how they interview and talk. He's probably the one who's shown the most kind of ego out of all of them. In my
Yeah,
opinion, he's
in
very
how he
much
says
he's very much I'm the kind of carries himself with a little more of the I'm the best kind of mentality that he didn't used to kind of carry himself with. He had a little more
yeah, the
humility before.
the comment, now it was kind of an odd question, but talking about, being on the very big stage of playing on Christmas Day, his response was, I've been to the finals, brother. And it's
Hmm.
like, yeah, but you haven't played on Christmas Day since 2018. It's a great privilege. It just, maybe the tone came off a little.
Well, that's kind of where I'm getting at is like it's not that it's the statement itself is wrong, it's the tone that's coming with some of his answers that to
Mhm.
me reads as he's been a little more full of himself, and he probably needs to be a little more humility again.
Well, I think if they continue this, this rough patch, he's definitely going to have to self-reflect in how he speaks about it.
Because yeah, and
So,
trying to get back into the flow or not, you're out there now. So
oh
the
yeah.
criticism's coming your way, and you got to be ready to respond to it. So now we're being critical, but we still love our guys. We're not slighting them. We don't hate them. I'm
If we
glad I'm
didn't
not on
care,
Twitter. I have heard that the Twitter narrative from Thunder fans was, "Oh my gosh, we need to trade for Giannis now."
oh my
Um,
God.
people
I had
ready
somebody come to me
people
with
ready to
that.
blow it up.
I had somebody come to me with that, my Mavs friend, and I was like, "Are you out of your mind? Can you just you got go pay attention to Coop. You got enough on your mind."
No, no, we're not blowing it up. There's no need to blow it up. There's no need to panic. I think
No.
if you had told any of us before this season we would lose them either them, I think we're either the most or second most man games lost to injury last I saw.
Yeah.
If you told us we were going to lose all that time, J-Dub wasn't going to play for the first 19 games, iHeart would be in and out. J Will would be in and out. You know, you could have told us all that and then said we're 26-5. We'd have been like, hallelujah. Like, man, we must be playing awesome to still be 26-5 and first in the West, dealing with all that. So let's, remind ourselves of that greater context and not be prisoners of the moment right now. We're in a rough patch. These things happen. These are 82 game seasons. You know, I know we were having fun playing with the 81 and 1 and the 80 and 2. But we all know
Wait,
like
we're
these things happen.
hang on, hang on. 77-5 is on the table, Britt. Don't get this twisted. 77-5 is still, just like I've said,
As we've
all
been
season
saying the
long.
whole season,
All
none of that
season
other stuff
long.
even happened.
Mm-mm, no. But the truth is, if we didn't care, we wouldn't care. We wouldn't give our, courtside thoughts on things. We just want to see our guys succeed. We want to see them have fun and succeed. And they should
Absolutely.
listen to us as, watchers and viewers, not players, not coaches. They should listen to us more.
Yeah. Yeah. Listen to us. We got something to
Uh,
say.
exactly.
But,
But at least they're getting, go ahead.
you go ahead. You go ahead.
I was just going to say, at least they're getting a couple of days break after playing 5 games in 8 days.
Yes.
So they're getting a little bit of rest before they play the Sixers tomorrow on
Yep.
Sunday.
Sixers coming up. So we've got a Sunday, Monday doubleheader this week, and then a Sunday, Monday doubleheader next weekend. And then through most of January, it's an every other night game. And there's no back-to-backs again until like early to mid-February near the All-Star break. So
Finally. These
we'll
back-to-backs were so weird because we would play at home and then, like the Minnesota game, like we win at home and then literally that night at 11 o'clock, get on a plane to fly down to San Antonio to play them, what, 22 hours later?
Yeah,
It
I
was like
think the
we didn't
type
even
of
get a win.
back-to-back matters, and it's those home
I think
away
so.
ones that are particularly insidious
Hmm.
because you play a home game, but then you don't get to go sleep in your own bed, and instead you're on a plane, you're checking into a hotel room at like 3 in the morning, you're on a weird schedule, everything gets thrown off. So yeah,
Yes, we're
those are
playing a
tough.
tiny violin. Yes, we understand. However, when you're looking at it from a conditioning and a performance standpoint, it's funky.
Well, you can often see it. Those are the nights the shooting's just off because everything's just a little bit short because your legs just aren't quite there. But you shouldn't be having that on Christmas Day when you were at home the day before.
Ahem. Ahem.
AC. Lou Dort's
Oh,
shooting came back though. We can at least, say Dort was making some shots again finally.
but he didn't drop 11 before one finally went. Sorry. Mm. We love AC. We do. We do. But
We
anytime a player is that cold, let's make an adjustment.
we got some streaky shooters on the team. Um, we got to also better utilize Isaiah Joe, I think. I think he's a weapon that's maybe not being deployed quite properly right now. We need more out of him.
We need queso out there a little more.
Yeah, and I know
I'm
people
just
are going to get caught up on the starting lineup, but I will also say, like, to me, it often matters more, like, who's closing and, like,
absolutely.
what the closing lineup is more so than the starting lineup.
Look
And I
at Wimby's
almost
minute.
wonder if, like, a Chet, J-Dub, Queso, Isaiah Joe, Shea lineup wouldn't work
Huh.
well because you need the
That's an
shooting around.
interesting
You need
thought.
shooting around Shea, but then you also got Kaysen's defense, which is top notch.
Yeah.
Um, I don't know. That's a thought I've had that might be an interesting lineup.
I do think that it is interesting, as much as we joke and giggle about the fact that Shay's sitting all the fourth quarters. I think these close games are really needed for him to get into the rhythm of how to close out games
Hmm.
because sometimes it really is a parent that they're just soft on their clothes.
Yeah. Yeah, and NAC even said that in that same interview with Andrew Schlecht about being that they were just all like taking too short of closeouts on defense.
Mm,
Because they were just they hadn't worked into that mentality of playing hard all the full 48 because of that soft schedule. Like
yeah.
they had gotten into some kind of bad habits because they were getting let off the hook by some bad shooters.
Yeah. Well, so I think, January is going to be really interesting, I think. For
A lot more tough matchups, a lot more national TV games coming up.
hmm
So if you're worried about the national narrative, if you're one of those fans that, is getting worried because the national people are now talking down about us or anything, like we're gonna have plenty of opportunities to write the narrative. It's gonna be okay.
it's going to be fine. No, I think I know there's some disappointment right now, but again, it's reframing it and just kind of resetting how you see it. And yes, we can look back with rose-colored glasses and do oh, but I just think, you know, I say this a lot and I actually truly mean it, is anything can happen in a game. Anything. It doesn't, I mean, somebody can be down 20 and then somebody on their bench gets streaky and drops four threes in a row. And then next thing you know, it's a two possession game. And you're like, wait a minute, wait, what? And it's just anything can happen. And so, and that was something that made me irritated the other day is I watch all 48. I watch tip off to final buzzer. And I get so irritated. And I don't care if it's a tanking season, I don't care if it's a championship season. Those fellas deserve to have the fans in the seat from tip off to end buzzer. And when I'm seeing the lower bowl empty out, these expensive seats, they're the expensive seats, and they're emptying out and going home when there's more than 2 minutes to play on the game, that the seats are getting empty enough for the announcers to speak on it on Christmas Day for the number one team, this prestige game. Give me a break. There is
Yeah,
no traffic in Oklahoma City that is dire enough on Christmas Day that you can't sit in that seat for another 10 minutes. Give me a break.
yeah.
I'm sorry. I was irritated.
No, that's fans be better. Come on, y'all. I know you get it's Christmas Day. Yeah, you got maybe you wanted to get home and get in your comfy clothes. You're mad. But the players had to play to the end and then they still had to get up on a podium and talk about this.
Exactly.
While it was raw. We got a couple days to stew on it and we're still, having trouble keeping our emotions in check. The least you can do is stick it through to the end for them. Um, all right, as we were saying, looking ahead, we've got the Sixers Sunday night, Hawks Monday night. Both of those in Oklahoma City. Wednesday night, Trailblazers in Oklahoma City. Um, None of those are terrible teams. The Blazers are probably the worst of the bunch, but we know they've beat us
Worse.
once already, so
Yep.
still can't take them lightly.
Anything can
Um,
happen.
Sixers are above 500. They're fifth in the East. They started off a little slow, but they're, showing some life. Got an interesting rookie in VJ Edgecombe that we get to see for the first
Oh,
time in Oklahoma City. So if you're a Thunder fan in OKC, go check that guy out. See him in person.
for sure. For sure.
So that's the week ahead. We're gonna get over this. Y'all will get over this. We're gonna write this thing. The guys are gonna get it together. And it's a long season, and I will end my thoughts today with one other thing, and then I pointed this out on threads before the game was over, is I remember just a few years back in that final Russ PG season, the Thunder swept the Blazers in the regular season, and it wasn't really even close in any of those games. It was like we just had that team figured out. There was nothing they could do against us. And we even kind of, if I recall correctly, we even maybe lost a game or two to kind of maneuver ourselves to play them in the first round, thinking that would be the ideal matchup.
We would never do that, Brett.
Um, they beat us handily in that first round series, and Dame waved goodbye, and that team never played together again.
Yeah.
So it's a regular season right now. Sure, we're 0-3 against the Spurs. Playoffs will be a whole different animal. There is plenty of time for this team to get it together, get the ship righted, and make this be something we almost forget about, down the line.
Almost being the key word on that one, but
It'll
no,
be hard to forget Christmas Day. We might forget the three games, but we probably won't forget Christmas Day.
I will say, I've stewed over this week a lot, probably too much, but I'm ready to close the door. We're gonna do like Coach Mark says, oh, 0-0. We
That's
got a
right.
new game. We're just gonna start. Tomorrow's the Sixers. That's the next. Can't do anything about the games in the past. Can't do anything about the record. Can't do anything, I'm getting to where that record, yeah, I mean, anyway, that's a whole other story. But it's 0-0. We're gonna start. Can't change what's in the past. Just make adjustments and let's move forward. And let's get excited. We get to play the Sixers tomorrow.
Heck yeah. I'm excited. I think the guys are going to be ready to try to start getting this thing back on track. So that's what we're going to do. We're going to keep having fun. This is our team. We're still 26-5 and first in the West. So let's enjoy it. And as Aaron Wiggins and Jalen J. Will Williams have reminded us at the parade, we the effing champs, y'all. We're still the champs right now. So let's just
Exactly.
keep enjoying it. We're still first, and we're gonna keep going.
Absolutely.
All right. Peace, thunder up, y'all. We'll see y'all next week and on our little post game and pre-game shorts. And don't forget, smash that subscribe button. Bye, y'all.
Bye, guys.